what I did say was Arc Raiders is opening the doors to everyone in the final Server Slam playtest coming in October. We're going to read that, and then we're going to watch a video from a channel called Above, which is Arc Raiders will revolutionize the most polarizing genre in gaming. So we're going to talk about that as well. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Appreciate it very much. Good morning. Let me see who's all here. What's going on, Travis? Jason, Eclipse, good morning. Roic, good morning. Sarge, good morning. All Turn, good morning. Big Mad Mo, what's going on? Water Bear, good morning. Is there someone I'm missing? I think I got everybody there. Wonder Rose, good morning. And anybody else that comes in, we'll say good morning to you as you enter the chat. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Obviously, if you come in, you're here every day, you know, you like my content, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So I appreciate you. If you let everybody else know you like the content as well. Last night we played a little bit of Skate. We were playing it, and I was trying to do some like crazy ass stunts. I think the game is a fun game. I think they pretty good. The Skate, like I said yesterday, the Skate feels good. There's a couple things, obviously. You could roll the entire time. I think it's dumb. But at the same time, the skydiving and stuff is ridiculous as well. But at the same time, I had a lot of fun. But to me, it's one of those games. It's like a palate cleanser. I don't see myself playing a game. Not to say that nobody would play this game for like 100 hours. Obviously, I think you would play for 100 hours. But I think you would play it over a long period of time, not kind of grind it type of thing. Like I said, I compare it to like a Forza Horizon, but for skateboarding instead of cars. A lot of the stuff that you do, you unlock a lot of cosmetics and stuff. There is a cosmetic store. They will pretty much monetize the name brand stuff. But I had fun. Go check it out, or go watch other people play Skate if you're interested. It's in early access right now, or preview program. It is missing a couple things, but I think they'll get better over time. But again, early access, free to play, so check it out. State of Play got announced for September 24th. That's tomorrow, isn't it? Jesus. Talk about last second, huh? Altern says AC skate, stunt skate, roller skate. That's it. Ready to pay $100 for a digital Nike shoe. I mean, I'm not, but it's definitely going to be there. They had something there for like $22 for like a pack of Thrasher. I forget if it was like a sweater or like a full pack. I'm not even sure. What's going on, Jesse? Good morning. I'm not even sure what it was. All right. So let's start off with Eurogamer. Eurogamer's got an article here. Came out is that yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. Came out yesterday. And Xbox has made the largest investment in Game Pass to date this year, countering criticism of subscription service value. It seems like every week I have a conversation about people saying that people on Game Pass is not making money and that it's hurting, developers. Now, I've said in the past that the model of Game Pass could potentially hurt the industry, because if everyone adopts a streaming service, just like they did for the film industry, just like they did for the music industry, it did hurt, the industries, right? Music has completely changed because of the subscription services, right? Like, for instance, people used to write songs, make songs, and then all of a sudden you didn't buy those songs anymore. You streamed the songs, right? Same thing with movies. People would make movies, and then you would sell that movie, and then people would buy those movies, but now they just stream those movies, right? So, yes, they still make money, but they make it in a different way, and it hurt both of those businesses, and now gaming is doing the exact same thing, right? I don't want to say Game Pass itself is not working, but Game Pass the model of Netflix, of Spotify, okay, will hurt the industry in the long haul because more people will start making subscription services, which will then hurt the industry as a whole. It's okay if you have something that's different, but you still have the other things that maintain the industry. But if everyone had a subscription service, it would hurt the industry as a whole, right? So Xbox has made largest investment in Game Pass to date this year, countering recent criticism of subscription services value. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I give you my thoughts, then I get your thoughts in the live chat. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. All right. So this year has marked Xbox's largest investment in Game Pass to date, according to ID Xbox boss Chris Charla. Okay, speaking to Eurogamer, Charla discussed that the current state of the subscription service in the face of recent criticism, nothing positive sentiment from the developers as desire to return to future projects. He says, quote, the majority of the partners who have had a game on Game Pass want to bring their future titles to the service. This goes absolutely against everyone saying that, well, developers are not making money, right? They're losing money is what they say. And it's like, well, no, they paid up front for the thing. They're making money, and people are coming back. He says, as a result, we've signed deals with more than 150 partners to expand the catalog. Okay, we continue to engage with hundreds of partners each year to review upcoming titles. Last year, it says, quote, last year we worked over with 50 teams to sign their first Game Pass deal. This year marks our largest investment in Game Pass to date, and we remain focused on delivering the most exciting, diverse catalog in gaming. Now, we talked about a video, or an article, I should say, in a video, sometime last year, maybe it's about a year and a half ago, where the publisher and the creator of Tunic said that it was very, very, very good for Tunic to get onto Game Pass, and it sold very well, okay? But people, like, hand-waved that away. They said it's easier for people to get in early on into Game Pass than it would be later on. It would be the longer Game Pass is out, the harder it would be for studios to try to get a hold of being successful or not on Game Pass, right? Because right now, let's say Game Pass came out like 7 years ago and you put something on there, there was less people on Game Pass, so there was less competition, right? Less people paid a monthly subscription, but at the same time, there was also less games on Game Pass. So getting on Game Pass early was very profitable for early on for some independent games, right? Now, fast forward to today, people see the success stories of Tunic, of Expedition 33, of Silksong, of other games. So now more people are going to try to come to Game Pass because they're like, hey, it worked for them. We can sell our game to other places, and we can also put it on Game Pass, get that money up front, whatever that is, okay, because it's different for everybody. But now you go through your Netflix catalog, you go through your Spotify playlist, you go through all these things, and it's super hard to find something that you like or want to play or listen to or watch because it's just more stuff on top of stuff. Like, physically try to remember how it was when you went to a Walmart or Target and you were trying to find in the bargain bin a movie to watch, okay? Forget Netflix, right? There's just a pile of DVDs, and you sat there and you started going through them to try to see what movie was good, and you're like, oh, I heard this was good. It's $5. I'm going to take it. That's exactly what's happening right now in Game Pass. More games are coming in, and there's just so much. There's a pile of games to watch. Steam, same type of thing, right? There's so many games, and it's hard to weed through those games to try to find the game that you like. So it's harder for companies to come into Game Pass and try to promote that game ahead of everybody else, right? Timing is everything. So it says Xbox received criticism for Game Pass recent months. Arcane Studios founder Rafael Cortiano described the service as unsustainable model that has been increasingly damaging the industry for a decade. Again, I agree and disagree with this. One, is it unsustainable? Obviously not. Spotify's still around. Obviously not. Netflix is still around, right? So Spotify is the number one streaming platform in music. Netflix is the number one streaming platform in movies. And Game Pass is going to be that number one streaming in video games, okay? Could it be unsustainable? Sure. If you're Disney Plus, if you're iHeart, if you're other companies, right? They still have a piece of the pie in those industries of film and music. Okay. Now other companies like Ubisoft, EA, they have a subscription service. Unsustainable model? I don't know if it's unsustainable, but it's definitely going to get harder for people to try to get exposed if everyone is switching over to this platform. Okay, not just Game Pass, just subscription models in general. In a back and forth of social media on cannibalization of sales, okay, Director of Publishing Michael Dowse added small teams with new riskier games can benefit from Game Pass, but he prefers Sony's lifecycle management method of adding games following initial sales. Okay, I've been on record saying I do like Sony's business model a little bit better than Game Pass because you put the new game out, leave it out there for 6 months, make it sales up front, and then put it on the streaming service afterwards, right? I've said that in the past, okay? But to say that people are not making money off Game Pass is kind of stupid, considering multiple people have now put games out recently. Silksong, Expedition 33, Atomfall, I forget the other game that came out recently, independent game. They've all were successful. They've all made their sales on other platforms, and they got money up front. When people say they're missing out on sales, it's like looking at something and saying, look, if I just make a game or I make a product, whatever it is, I don't know what those sales are going to be. It's easy after the fact, hindsight's 2020, okay, where you look at it and go, oh, well, if I did this, I could have made more money. You don't know that. You don't know that, okay? Because Silksong made a crap ton of money doesn't mean it would have made more sales. They already got money up front. High on Life, thank you, right? They came back for the second one, right? So if you make the money up front, that's not missing out on sales. You're getting the sales up front. I don't understand how these journalists and other people look at this and say they're missing sales. If they said, hey, we'll pay you for 250,000 copies, and then the game comes out and it sells 1 million copies on top of the 250,000 copies, okay, they're like, oh, they're missing out sales. You don't know if that would have sold or not. They decided, the developers decided that they wanted to be on the service because they were making money up front, which took off risk off of them, okay? It says, former PlayStation boss Sean Layden discussed a perceived profitability of Game Pass in discussion with gamingindustry.biz. He says, quote, there's a lot of debate going on, he said. Is Game Pass profitable? Is Game Pass not profitable? What does it mean? And really not the right question to ask anyway. Well, the question to me as a consumer, okay, again, consumer, not a person that works for the competitor and wants to know if it's profitable or not. Obviously, businesses can say something's profitable and they can move numbers around, change things. They're going to tell you what they're going to tell you, okay? From a consumer standpoint, Game Pass is a phenomenal deal, right? I've just played multiple games and tried multiple games without purchasing one goddamn thing. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, okay? I bought that game on Steam, okay? Now it's on Game Pass. I didn't purchase it on Game Pass. I don't even know what the price is, okay? Now, as a customer, do I look at it and go, oh, well, they lost a sale? Well, no, actually, they made a sale because I bought it on PC over a year and a half ago, okay? And now it's on Game Pass, and they took money up front, and they made money off of that, right? And people can buy it. So am I going, oh, did the developer make money? That's none of my concern as a consumer. Zero concern of mine, right? My concern is this game good? Is it worth my time? That's it. Okay. It says you could also do you could do all kinds of financial jiggery pokery for any sort of corporation service you make look profitable if you want to. Exactly right. Exactly right. Right? What you do behind the scenes and say, oh, well, this is profitable because this other thing is not profitable. And you say as a total, oh, yeah, we're profitable. Right? You take enough cost out and say that off the balance sheet and, oh, look, it's profitable now. And the real issue for me is things like Game Pass is it healthy for the developer? Okay. Again, if the developer of that particular game wants to put their game on Game Pass, no one is forcing them to put it on Game Pass. No one is holding a fake gun to their head and saying, you got to put the game on Game Pass. They're like, hey, would you like to come to Game Pass? This is what we offer. This is what we're offering you. And they're like, yeah, that sounds like a good deal. I think I'll take that deal, right? Other people might look at it and go, we're a little over budget. They're not offering us enough to cover that. And they go, No, it's a bad deal, right? Individuals get to choose their destiny. Okay? You could go out and publish your own game, make your own game, not put it on Game Pass, put it out there, and it falls flat. Okay? We just read an article last week. What is that? Hell Is Us is blaming Silksong for their game not doing very well. So if Silksong didn't come out and it still made the sales that it is, if it wasn't Game Pass and it wasn't Silksong, what was the problem? What was the problem? Just your game wasn't as popular. Saying that your game is going to be popular or not going to be popular because you put it on Game Pass or not, imagine if Hell Is Us took money from Game Pass and they took that money up front and they also sold the amount that you just sold. Would that be better or worse? I don't know. Each their own. Okay. Meanwhile, Football Manager boss Miles Jacobson recently told Eurogamer that player numbers for the series have skyrocketed since being added to the subscription platform. Okay. We built a whole business model around it, he said. You can't just turn around and do this if this was before we launch on the subscription platforms. We've been talking about this. We've been working out and what we were also going to do for 5 years. It was a 5-year journey before we went with the first experiment, and then we did another experiment, and then we did another experiment, and then we learned from those experiments, and then this is when the full strategy was put in place. Imagine that. Imagine doing the research and doing the stuff that you had to do to figure out where the market was going and what the market is doing. Instead of just blaming everybody else, well, my game didn't succeed because it's on Game Pass. And then I'm upset because some other person's game is on Game Pass, and I'm upset because they're not making money. They chose to be on Game Pass. They chose to make a deal with Microsoft. It worked or didn't work. You didn't have to make a Game Pass deal, and you could have just went live, and it could have worked or it couldn't have worked. It all depends on what you make. Make a game, sell a game. Choose what you want to do with your game. Don't justify your game sales or their game sales because one's popular on Game Pass, one isn't popular on Game Pass, and this one killed it, and this one didn't. Okay. In a broader interview with Eurogamer on the state of indie games on Xbox, Charlotte noted that Breath of Games showcase on Xbox Gamescom is just a really recognition. I can't say the word. For God's sakes. I don't know what's going on. My microphone's showing on my thing, so now it's like YouTube side. So it's not my mixer. I don't know what's going on. Because my microphone's still going. I can see the audio. I can hear the audio, but you guys can't hear it. I don't know what's going on. We're just going to have to deal with it. Right? We're just going to have to deal with roll with the punches. Okay? So, again, every single week now, it seems like somebody that's not in Game Pass or with Microsoft obviously comes in and says it's bad for the industry. They're not making money. It's hurting developers. And yet, in this article itself, 150 partners have expanded their catalog inside of Game Pass. So apparently 150 different studios think otherwise, okay? Where they keep putting their games onto Game Pass because it's working out for them. But I don't know. These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think? Do you think Game Pass is bad for developers? Do you think it's bad for the industry? Okay. Again, I've said that I do like Sony's plan better, where you put the games out first, make the money up front, because I come from a movie standpoint, right? I look at the games releasing on systems like movies releasing in theaters. The old model is release it in theaters and then make the rest of the money off of DVD sales. Okay? Well, that's changed now because of streaming services. Make money now in video games up front and then put it on your streaming service. But that's changed now because games come out day and date on Game Pass, and more companies are deciding to go on Game Pass, and they're being successful because they're getting their money up front. But again, these are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right, let's see. What about the Outriders example? Outriders example was Square Enix took the money and stole it from the actual People May Fly. And then Outriders, the People May Fly, have signed a deal with them Now, I think the deal got broken off afterwards. I'm not too sure. I would have to look into it again, Jones. But I'm pretty sure People Can Fly actually wanted to work with Xbox again, where Outriders got dicked over by Square Enix. It had nothing to do with Game Pass. Eclipse says, yeah, it's funny. It's funny when people come out and say that Game Pass is bad for them and selling their game in multiple platforms, Steam, Epic, and whatever. It didn't do well on those either. Right. Ray says it's better an exclusivity deal with PlayStation, sell 300,000 copies, or on Game Pass and sell 1 million copies on PC, PS, Xbox, and Nintendo. Real quick, Ray also said, if Game Pass is bad, why did devs put their sequels on it? $2 super chat. Thank you very much for the Canadian $2. Appreciate that very much. Thank you very much for the support. Term says, for every Tunic, Expedition 33, Silk Song, there's also Internal Strands, the game where you skip bosses and so on. Games that don't get to be popular enough, but as well as they were not good enough. Yeah, but that if they weren't on Game Pass, it'd be the exact same thing, right? There's games that succeed and fail. And does that have to do with Game Pass? No. It's just that's what they do. Argus says GigaPass Ultimate Subscription Service is an entire entertainment industry. If everybody takes this format and it goes to this where you can't buy games and it's just streaming, then 100% that's a problem. Look at the movie industry right now. The movie industry is dying in front of our eyes, right? Because less people are going to the movies, right? No one's buying DVDs. No one's buying the digital version of what would be a DVD because they don't own the movie anymore, right? They don't own a physical copy of the movie. So people are renting the movie for more money, but it's also not making the money off of that, what they would make off DVDs, and then they put it on a streaming service, right? Which means they're either getting paid because they're on a third-party streaming service. Like if Superman's owned by WB and WB doesn't put it on HBO, but they put it on Netflix instead, Netflix would have to pay WB to put that on Netflix, right? But if Superman goes on HBO, Peter pays Paul, right? Which is the same company, so they're not making money off of that. They're just paying for the rights of that, and then they get the subscription. And there's a whole cycle here. If everybody did this, then it would be bad. But because Microsoft is the Netflix, is the Spotify first in the gaming space, it's not bad for the industry as of right now. Mo says the deal was for Gears of War multiplayer, I believe. Oh, for People Can Fly? Waterbear says, it's not bad for the consumer. It's not bad for the devs. Who are they trying to get their titles out there? Now will it be bad for gaming as a whole? Stay tuned. Right. And we don't know that, right? Again, if PlayStation did exactly what Game Pass did, and they put games day and date on PlayStation, and Steam did day and date where they did their streaming thing where you could buy it or stream it on the Steam store or whatever, would that hurt the industry? Most likely, yes, because that's what's happening in the film industry. That's what's happening in the music industry. Eclipse says exactly. Even if they weren't on Game Pass, they still fail on those platforms. Robert Jones says, yeah, Square screwed People Can Fly, but it's a clear example of Game Pass eating into sales. Didn't a ton of people cancel the pre-order and go with Game Pass? It's clearly a better deal. It's not as cut and dry as that, Jones. We don't know the deal that People Can Fly made with Square Enix, the publisher. And we don't know the deal that Square Enix made. So the difference is, if a company like People May Fly went directly to Xbox and made the deal with Game Pass, that would be a completely different story than if the people they signed up for, Square Enix, and then Square Enix is like, we're going to lose money on this because we're not advertising it. Let's put it on Game Pass. Let's take the cash up front, which they did. Square Enix got that money up front, not People Can Fly. So that's a really weird example to like bring up and say, well, this is bad for that. Tunic, Expedition 33, Silk Song, the developer that make the game, put it on the actual thing, make the deal with Microsoft, and make that money up front. Square Enix signed a deal with People May Fly, and they decided to make that deal, which is the same deal they would have made with Game Pass. They chose to make a deal with somebody, and it didn't work out for them. They got screwed. They thought it was a good deal. Square Enix fucked them. Waterbear says, I love Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. It saves me a lot of money, especially as a gamer, with kids who also like to play as well. I'd say alone, without Game Pass or Plus, I spend at least $1,000 to $1,500 a year on games. 100%. My son plays a different game all the time. There's another game that just came out. It's called Wobbly or Will of Wobble or something. I forget what it was. It's an open world game. You run around, do different jobs and stuff like that. He's been playing that for like the last 3-4 days. I would never buy that game. Would never, ever buy that game. He's playing that thing, and he's just loving it. And then he stops playing that, and he plays a different game. And he stops playing that, and he plays a different game, right? Every week, he's playing like 4 or 5 different games. New, different games. That would be $60 here, $30 there, $70 here, and they're all on Game Pass. Saves me a fortune. Eclipse says, what I think is funny is the guy that said Game Pass was bad, he gave out his game for free on Amazon game Twitch thing. So also, how is that not bad? He signed a deal. He gave it for free because they paid him up front for it. It's the exact same thing. Winzo up here said, on Sean Layton, the guy, though, who says the game should have kept going up every generation, is not seeing better cars in the parking lots. Yeah, he's ridiculous when he's stuff like that. I used to see Ferraris in the parking lot. Now I'm seeing Honda Civics. We're not making enough money, basically is what he's saying. Game Pass is only bad because Xbox is doing it. Game Pass is the best deal for consumers, period. No matter if you like it or not, it's fact. 100%, Mo. 100%. And the people that say that it's bad for the industry, I want to know, do these people have any streaming platform? Any? I'm talking about, are they subscribed to Spotify? Are they subscribed to Netflix? Are they subscribed to Disney Plus? Are they subscribed to HBO Max? If they're subscribed to any subscription service anywhere, hypocrites. Because if they say that this is bad for this, and yet they're subscribed to one of those, it's the exact same fucking thing. August says, I don't buy DVDs. I prefer a movie theater. It's generally an interesting movie. Ron Slusher says, make a game and people will buy it. Yep, make a game, sell a game. What's going on, Salty? Sean Layton is the guy who said, oh, we already said that, okay. Phil once said, when we launched Game Pass, we knew it would also be destructive to the gaming industry. It's been 8 years since he made that statement. Destructive or disruptive? Did he say destructive or disruptive? Sarge says, how is Game Pass different from renting games from Blockbuster? It isn't. It's just the same business model structure, differently. Altern with the 23 months, so close to 2 years, and still don't know why I'm here. Well, I appreciate it. If it makes you feel better, I don't know why you're here either. Yeah, thank you very much for the 23 months. I appreciate that. Salty says, Game Pass isn't bad currently, but when does Game Pass price get to the point consumers say, I'm not paying that? I'll be honest, Salty. I'll be honest. If the average person is paying for 3 to 4 games a year, or I think, was it 3 to 5 games a year? I think it's the average now. At full price, that's $350 at 5 games at $70, right? 5 games at $70 will be $350, okay? Right now, $20 for 12 months is $280. If it goes up to $30, okay, that's $360, okay? That would be equal to 5 games, right? You're still getting way more than 5 games on Game Pass. So at that point, though, more people will look at it and go, do I really want to pay $360 a year for technically 5 games? It's still a better deal. Because if you bought just 5 games, it would be $350, okay? But if you paid for Game Pass with all the new games that come out, third party, first party, and then all the old titles, you're definitely still getting your money's worth at $30 a month. Will people pay that? I don't know. but you're still definitely getting your money's worth. PlayStation Plus is basically Game Pass without first-party day and date. Correct. Half the people saying it's bad have Game Pass. I just watched Superman on HBO Max, and I'm glad I waited, didn't watch it into the theaters. Ron says Game Pass is an option. You can still buy a game digitally or physically. And that's another thing people always forget, Ron, right? They're like, oh, well, because Silk Song is on Game Pass, nobody on Xbox is going to buy it. They're like, well, not everyone has Game Pass on Xbox. And if they see the game and it's $20 or whatever it is, people are buying it, sure. Less people are buying on console because more people on console have Game Pass. And they took the money up front. So they already covered whatever that deal was. If it was 10 copies, or if it was 10,000 copies, or if it was 1 million copies. We don't know the deal they made. That's between them and Microsoft. What's going on, Roadkill? Phil said disruptive, not destructive. Okay. That's why I asked, Jax, because disruptive is much different than destructive. Destructive is what these people are saying. Disruptive is what Phil's saying. Like, yeah, it's different. It is the Netflix. It is the Spotify. You know what was disruptive before Spotify and iHeart and Pandora? Napster. Napster was disruptive because Napster and LimeWire exposed that you could make digital music, and it was disruptive. And they're like, wait a minute, we can sell digital songs. People are ripping and doing digitally. And they're like, why don't we make a service? So they make a legal service of it instead of a illegal service of it. Argus says, Game Pass has always been worth it to me. I've been paying for it every month since they put it out. I always find people funny, Argus, that people are like, you know, if you have Game Pass, you're broke, right? I always love that. Instead of people going, anything else. You go to the store. I've talked about the food, right? It's like something's on sale, 2 for 1, right? No one's buying the one at full price and not taking the second one with them. And no one's calling somebody that's getting deals on groceries brokey. Or if you buy a 2 for 1, or you go to a lunch special, or you go to the movies before the matinee shows because it's cheaper, right? No one's making fun of somebody else in any space to go, oh, what, you didn't buy the $10,000 television set? You only bought the $1,000 television set? You're so broke. Like, I never understood this, right? It's like people have to bloat their chest up like, well, I paid $1,000 for this thing and you only paid $100. I have $900 more in my pocket to go buy something else now. Waterbear says, this is why we're going to get away with it. Microsoft is salivating at the mouth, waiting for a normal price of games to go up to $80. Oh, for sure. And they'll sell their games at $80 for sure. I've been saying this for years. Keep raising the price. Microsoft's like, fantastic. But Microsoft's also idiots, Water, because they keep raising their prices. They're making the problem, selling the solution, and then fucking the solution up with another problem. Ron Slusher says third-party Game Pass doesn't stay forever. It's like the game that you have will also buy at some point, and it's also at a discount. Waterbear says, only idiots pay full price for anything. Technology. I'm broke, so I don't have Game Pass. Well, that's true. If you're broke and you can't have Game Pass, that's when you know you're broke. Right? When you're broke, you know you're broke. I don't know what any of you are talking about. I don't pay for Game Pass. I pay for Xbox Live and get Game Pass for free. Are we understanding this yet? Right? Before you just paid for online. You just paid for online. And now you're paying for online, but you're also getting Game Pass and everything else with it. World says, I have a cardboard box with a pane of glass I found in the garbage that I also play my games on. So much for that $1,000 TV. Yeah, my friend bought Borderlands 4 at full price and finished it already. I just went, I'll wait. Roic says, wasn't there a game rental thing like Netflix that first came out, pick the game, send it. Yeah, GameFly. GameFly. Yeah. Jason says GameFly. Yeah, GameFly. I used to get games from GameFly all the time. That's the reason. Hold up here. That's the reason I found Mass Effect 2. Okay? I was getting GameFly, didn't know what Mass Effect was, saw Mass Effect 2 on the list, rented it, and before I started playing, I played 2 hours of it. And I went, hold up a second. There's a Mass Effect 1 I should play first because I didn't know they were connected. So then I rented at GameFly, I rented Mass Effect 1. So I paid for Mass Effect 1, played it, beat it, rented Mass Effect 2, played it, beat it, and guess what? I bought them afterwards. Like, because GameFly, you could keep the disc, right? You could keep the disc, and then you would buy it. So you rent it per the month, and if you want to keep it, you could just pay the difference. And that's what you do. It's exactly what I did. Windows says 30. I just don't get how people care more about the industry than the best deal for us, the consumers' wallets. Why should someone care what they make? They shouldn't. And that's just it. I don't care if the game cost them $5 million or $500 million. All I'm asking for is a good game. Make a game, sell a game, right? Good game is different for everybody. Some people like Marvel's Avengers. Other people didn't like Marvel's Avengers. Some people like Kojima's games. Some people don't like Kojima's games. Not every game is made for everybody. Not every game is great. Not every game is fantastic. Everyone likes what they like, okay? So if you find more people that like your game that dislike your game, then it's a very popular game. You get like a Grand Theft Auto. You get like a Cyberpunk, okay? So when people say that, oh, well, this is the... All I care about is make a game, sell a game. If your game is complete, not broke, not buggy, not unfinished, okay, then you're in the category of I'm interested in your game. But then when it comes out to be broke, buggy, and unfinished, I'm like, yeah, check. I'm not buying something from that person again until I know it's not broke, buggy, unfinished. Everyone cares about the devs. The devs get paid. Right? The devs get paid. They get a paycheck, just like you do when you go to work. Okay? I was like, oh, well, I gotta buy the game. If that's the case, then how come no one's going to the movies? You're not buying the movies, you're not going to the movies, but yet you want to stream the movie. What about the guys that make the movie? What about the camera guys? What about the PAs? What about the script writers? Guess what? They also got paid to make the thing, and then the person above the line, the producers, the publishers, whatever, they're making the money, okay? When everyone's like the devs, like what are we talking about? The devs made their money. Jesse says, more games free for us and gaming subscription is good for us. Not good enough for the devs. They get paid up front. They're kind of bad for them. Game Pass or subscriptions not working for them. Let's see in 5 years. The thing with this is right here, though, Jesse, is if they were on Game Pass or not, if a game come out and they release the game, it's successful or not successful based on the money they put in towards the game and if it's popular enough where people buy it, okay? It doesn't matter if it's on Game Pass or not. Your game is going to succeed or die off the vine or on the vine. It doesn't really matter. Make a game, sell a game. It doesn't matter if they're on Game Pass that it succeed or not succeed. It doesn't matter if it's off of Game Pass that succeeds, not succeeds. Each their own. The developer has no idea if their game's going to be good or bad in the industry. We, the people, decide if it's good or bad in the industry. We, the people, decide word of mouth if this is good. Look at my channel, right? The 29 people that are here, you would think my content is good. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here every single day. Well, there's millions of people that don't know about my content, right? I either succeed or not succeed. That's what it is. Now, if I was on a different platform, would I be better or worse or the same? I don't know. The grass is not greener on the other side. I don't know what it's going to be on the other side. I can't tell you if I would be more successful or not if I was on Twitch or if I was on Rumble or if I was on Kick, right? So it doesn't really matter. Make the content, sell the content. Make the game, sell the game. Make the book, sell the book. Make the movie, sell the movie. Some are good, some are bad, some are just whatever. All right, this other story, which I think is on the same platform here. Okay, it was really hard to publish on Xbox. It was our job to make it easier. Inside Xbox, increasingly vital indie publishing operations. How Xbox chooses its indies and what it means for the devs. Okay, so if you guys like what I do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. World says, make a baby, sell a baby. I mean, I guess you could. I mean, you could shoot your stuff in a cup and sell that. So, my first major memory of indie games on Xbox platform is a pleasant one. It's precisely the sort of memory I also feel most appropriate for the medium. This was a tiny self-published affair. Nary a publisher Insight, what I assumed a solo developer, extremely limited scope, and I'm not talking about Hollow Knight or Balatro or Braided or Limbo or whatever have you. Okay, I'm talking about Curling 2010. Curling 2010 was exactly what it sounds like. A very simple indie recreation of the sport of curling. I'm interested. Okay. I was drunken discovering, and it was also my circle of friends was almost exclusively played competitively when they're very liquored. Okay, to me, curling stood alongside amount your friends as absolute poster children of the Xbox Live indie games. A rather brilliant little service that allowed pretty much anyone to develop Xbox 360 games using Microsoft XNA framework. Games that also would get a peer reviewed and also could go live for a few bucks. Okay, the service was surprisingly simple. Shockingly, it was also the first signal on how serious Xbox was about allowing independent developers accessing this platform. They also let one person indulge in the interest of curling and also put their game on Xbox 360. While the Xbox Live Community Indie Games service never left the Xbox 360, and Microsoft never quite embraced such a chaotic openness again. The system founded spirit as later channeled in the Xbox One's ID at Xbox program, which continues to this day. In 2025, ID Xbox also seldom seems more important to Xbox fortunes. Okay, the platform holder finds itself a choppy waters, first-party studios layoffs, second-party game cancellations, botch rescue deals, and boycott calls, fueled by the action of Xbox parent company. But you know what? That part of Xbox ecosystem has been consistently rather good. All right, so I'm going to break this down for just a little bit here, okay? Right here where he says the service was surprisingly simple, shockingly, okay, that's the first signal of how serious Xbox was about allowing independent developers access to the platform. From a business standpoint, Xbox and Microsoft was like, how do we find new people? They opened it up and did this. Then, as they were doing this and they found that games were making hits or doing something, they changed the business model and said, what about if we charged and made a percentage of this? Okay? So they would just allow anybody on, they would take the sales, but then they decided to make what they made, which is Game Pass, right? So Game Pass came along and they're like, hey, you're an independent studio. We would like to bring you on. We'll pay you up front. And they probably, let's be honest, probably go below market, just like Walmart would be like, hey, I want to sell your broom in Walmart, and we'll give you 90 cents a broom. And they're like, well, it costs us 60 cents. Well, you're getting 30 cents now instead of making $1.50, right? But we're in, 10,000 stores. And they're like, okay. So they'll make up, and they'll still make millions of dollars, right? That's what they're doing now. Xbox is doing that with independent game companies now. Okay. It says, at glance around Xbox Gamescom last month, quite a firm confirmation that the fact that the longest line was, of course, for Silksong. Even before the show opened up in the public and watched the media influencers themselves dashing for the queue, which ran for over an hour. On the other side of the stand, games like Super Meat Boy 3D, and there's also No Ghost at the Grand dominated as partner titles. Okay, some might uncharitably suggest the stand is more representative for a particular quiet for the year for Xbox first-party games. But the truth is, Xbox shows have featured booths that also, for this long time, each appearance in a demonstration of the indie and third-party relations setup firing on all cylinders. Okay, for some years, there's more indie games. Some years, there's also less. Okay, but for every year, it's also discussion that ID Xbox boss Chris Charles tells me that the mindset of the busted noises of Xbox stands. The chat in a small aisles of the booth, also adjacent to the indie focus sections, were also early morning queues in the beginning to snake. The breadth of the third-party titles on the booth, from the late Japanese ports to all new indie games, hotly anticipated sequels, is meant to send messages. He says, quote, "It's just really recognition, okay, by Xbox and the absolute crucial need for diversity in our portfolio." Okay, and that's another thing. Look at Game Pass right now. They have Hades, right? They have Hades. They have another game, Sworn, that just came out today, I believe, which is like a Hades. There's another game that's sort of like, right? There's a lot of games that are almost similar. So you have to look at it as, I would assume, as a business owner, right? If you're a business owner, let's say you didn't make donuts, but you sell pastries, but you don't make the pastries in-house, okay? But you go out and try to find pastry makers, right? Someone approaches you with a donut and another person approaches you with a donut. You don't want to sell multiple donuts from different people inside your actual place because you're not a supermarket, right? You're a pastry shop or a coffee shop and you're selling pastries in there, okay? So you would pick and choose what pastries you want to put in there from the people that are making the pastries. Just as a food analogy, I guess you could say, right? That's the same thing Xbox is doing with video games, right? You're like, who do we want to put on our service? And then on top of that, there's a shit ton of games. Remember, 19,000 games came out on Steam last year. So you don't want to keep bringing the same like roguelike type of games coming in there. You don't want to keep bringing in so many vampire survival type games into your thing. And if you do, sure, someone might not like Vampire Survivor, but they might like Deep Rock Galactic, or they might like the game that you guys told me yesterday, which is a 3D Vampire Survivor type of thing, right? People like different things. But if you put too many on there, obviously you're going to cannibalize that genre, because if there's one extraction shooter that comes out, it might take off. But if there's 3 extraction shooters and there's only 1 million people that like extraction shooters, you're going to break that pie up, okay? So you don't want to put too many. So this is why they're talking about it's crucial for them to diversify their portfolio. They're not talking about diversity of like color of skin. They're talking about diversity of what type of games to put on the actual thing. It says, case in point, there are no ghosts at the Grand, his quirky debut title of Bistreal-based developer Friday Sunday. Districtly British, it took a pride in place of Xbox Summer Game Fest and Gamescom presence. Okay, it says, quote, "We never in our wildest dreams thought that we would also be there." Okay, it says Friday, Sunday, no ghosts at the Grand, and if we did, we thought we'd be some tiny little booth hidden in the back for the distance hall where nobody was also getting to see us. We did not ever in a million years expect it to be right there as part of Xbox, right there, Hall 7, and also to have people waiting like an hour to play our game. Okay, and that little moment, that right there, think about for Game Pass. Think about for an independent developer that if we're thinking about a convention, when you go to a convention, dead center, by the door, by the bathrooms is a lot of foot traffic, right? A lot of foot traffic. You'll see a lot of people come in. Other people are in the back, over by the far part. People don't want to go to the last rows. They don't get seen. Now picture that as Game Pass, right? Microsoft and indie titles they're putting out there. Some they put in that prime location. They put on the front title. They put on the main page, that very top part. Other people are at the way bottom. Okay, it's just what it is. Can't have room to fit all the stuff because if 1,000 people come out with a game, well, actually, let's not even go with 1,000. Let's say 52 people come out with a game in one day. Some probably paid more money than the others, so they probably got better prime location, right? Some people pay the exact same amount of money, but because they were late to the game or didn't submit in time, they get pushed to the edges, okay? Or they get pushed to the bottom of the screen, right? It's just what it is. So, not as big as Q's of Hollow Knight, of course. He says, but it was also extraordinary, surreal, and real items of the bucket list. As an indie dev, you couldn't hope for better start introducing the game directly to gamers. The section towards the back right of Xbox Stand, where No Ghost and Grand made its debut, serves as a perfect example of breadth of relationships with Xbox is trying to foster outside of the first-party ecosystem. Alongside No Ghost, there was also Silksong, an indie that was also so massive it is no longer quite fits in the terms of the same way. Then there's the Invincible Verse, which also has more traditional publishing arrangements, but a smaller scale Skybound games. Power Wash Simulator 2 is a sequel to a smash hit publisher by one of the gaming's biggest multi-nations. Remember, Power Wash was on Game Pass, and I don't remember anyone complaining that Power Wash Simulator wasn't successful. It was on PC. You could buy it. It was on Game Pass. Very successful. Okay. It's a sequel to a smash hit published by one of the gaming's biggest multinations, but it's also this time developer Future Lab is going to alone. Chinese developer Paw Print Studios showcased a Pokemon-like Amino. And also just off the side, there was also some fruits of Xbox's development outreach efforts in Japan with a few late but welcome ports of Square Enix. Okay. The point is that the stand paints a picture of the direction of travel of Xbox when its other aspects of the business appear much less certain. From smaller, truly independent studios to startups with also little external investment and support, the word tends to be pretty universal. To those who also had opportunity to play, Xbox's resources found invaluable. It says, we're an indie studio, a small publisher, so getting a level of support during a key market milestone is huge for us, says Mike, exclusive producer of Invincible Verse at the new startup studio Quarter Up. Having that kind of reach, especially during such a big-scale event, meant that the fans around the world can connect in Invincible Verse. It was also a big moment for us, and the game reaction has been amazing to see. The attitude towards Xbox support raises a question, of course. How exactly does Xbox decide which games are chosen and ones that are also less lucky? Even the most passing of the glances of Steam statistics tell us more, and now more games than ever that are also processed and discovered, and they're thereby ever more complicated. It says that's true for media. It's also to dig out the cool games for readers, but also obviously true for publishers and consumers themselves. That also approach hasn't changed in over a decade. However, quote, we find them everywhere. We find them by sending them time in indie areas at Gamescom. We find them at people sending us direct messages on Blue Sky. We find them from people all around Microsoft being like, hey, have you seen this game? It's also them having friends or who are making games who say, hey, you need to see my friend's game. And also people just emailing us. There's no difference between this and you driving down the road and looking at a shopping plaza as you drive by, right? If you have a nail salon or a donut shop and people see it, it's on a main highway, probably better traffic, right? If you're at a plaza where people have to park their car and walk by your shop, like an outdoor mall, it's probably a better location, and you'll probably get more business because the foot traffic, okay? Well, in video games, it's the same thing, right? You need more foot traffic. Well, there's no foot traffic, obviously, because you're not actually walking, but you need more eyeballs on your type of stuff, right? See, the thing is, Xbox only has 38 million people that play on this current gen. And then they also have Game Pass on the Xbox One as well, which is another 50 million people that could potentially have Game Pass. And then you have people that have television sets and whatnot. And they only have about 33 million Game Passes out of the 80 million boxes that are out there. So about a little less than half of people that own an Xbox One or an Xbox Series S or X or a television or a mobile phone or whatever have Game Pass. Now imagine if PlayStation had Game Pass. And I'm not talking about Game Pass. Like they had their own. Not PlayStation Plus, but they had day and date and stuff like that. And they had a more foot traffic. They had 80 million people. They had 150 million people that could potentially see those games more. It probably worked out good for them, right? Because they have 150, so double, triple the amount of what Microsoft has with Game Pass. You would think it would work out for them because they have more foot traffic. The majority of partners also who had Game Pass want to bring their future titles to the service. As a result, they've signed deals with more than 150 partners, which we read in the other article. Okay? It says, we continue to engage with hundreds of partners each year to review upcoming titles, right? Because everyone that's a developer looks at the story of Expedition 33, looks at Tunic, looks at Silksong, and says, I could be that game. I believe in my game that we've created, and I want to go on Game Pass because we could have the next big game, right? Roll the dice, win the lottery, okay? Which all falls back to make a game, sell a game, right? If you're making a game about snow plows, okay, is it fun? Do people like it? And if you're making a game about guns or whatever, is it fun? Do people like it? It doesn't matter what you make as long as you make a fun game. If people, right, if it cost me $50 to make this game or $50,000 to make the game, is it successful, right? It all depends. Okay, it says last year we worked with 50 teams to sign for the first Game Pass deal. This year marks our largest investment in Game Pass to date. The pathway to gradually ending up intertwined with Xbox and landing Game Pass deal matches up that described by Friday Sundance. No ghost at the Grand. You know what I thought about? I wonder if games like Power Wash Simulator and stuff like that were like, yeah, here's your deal, but if you sign with us again, we'll give you a better deal. Maybe. I'm sure that varies based on the company itself, because if one made a shit ton of money or brought in a lot of people and they saw what it is, I bet you they get a better deal for sure, right? The pathway of gradually ending up and intertwined with Xbox landing on Game Pass also matches the describe of Friday, Sunday for No Ghost at the Grand. In the case of a studio that also had to put together a demo that has also been showing off its various potential partners, which also includes submissions of Xbox team, focus website from an entry. It says, we didn't expect to hear back. You said earlier that No Ghost of the Grand's demo. We went through those channels and were promptly forgotten about all about that. In that fact, it's also when we got an email back. We thought that was spam. We weren't completely sure if it was real, but it was. It was someone with the Xbox team saying, yeah, we like your demo. We played it, and we think it's interesting. We also like to jump on a call. Since then, it's been a blur. There you go. There's that devastated story that everyone's talking about, that it's not good for the devs. Meanwhile, this dev is like, this is amazing. We gave him a demo. We forgot that we gave it to him. We thought it was spam. We got it back, and now it's been a blur. Very successful for them, right? The whirlwind of Xbox involvement has been described to me variously as developers as useful from the nuts to bolts development perspective in terms of gathering feedback and enjoying technology support, but also confident booster for a small team involved in attention to a much bigger partner can also be useful or scary, but it can also be validating. Okay, we had to show Xbox progress during the key milestones, i.e. demo of the game for their partnership team, and crucial moments inspired confidence and belongs to the support roster. Okay, he says, I just remember that Xbox was so curious about our creative process, said Friday, Sunday's Glenn Dining, that they wanted to know where we wanted to take it. And our creatives was coming from and our vision of the game. Everything that we said to them, they came back with this enthusiasm. And we also keep sending them their emails and some more screenshots, some more videos, and more content after time. We're also getting encouragement, support, and also a thumbs up to keep on going. Okay, having that kind of support was a huge confidence boost, and we weren't sure if that we were also making whether or not anyone would be interested or really like it. Okay, hearing people within the Xbox team being excited, being encouraged, waiting to see more. They also, a real shot is the confidence for us. I really spur the team to think forward and also know what we also might actually have something here. So there you go, right? So I don't know if this is the actual game. Mount your friends, right? Indie games have strong history of Xbox, so this is a game that actually made it there, right? So as you can tell, right, I'm not going to go into more of this, okay? But there's stories after stories after stories after stories of successful independent developers making money off of Game Pass, right? Yet there's still people saying there's more success than not success. And I don't know about you, but when I do something, if there's more pros than cons, then it's worth taking a risk for, okay? So in my eyes, again, from a consumer standpoint, I would probably never play this game right here, okay? I would probably never play this game, but I'll give you a shot. I'll give it a shot, right? I'd be like, oh, that was pretty fun. That was pretty fun. I would never buy this game, but I gave it a shot. Okay, maybe I would. Maybe someone would find it funny and go, you know what, that would be a fun game to play with a bunch of friends, okay? Or this game, right? And they're given the opportunity, but doesn't mean everybody that goes on Game Pass is going to be successful. And for some strange reason, they like to push the narrative that putting your game on Game Pass is not successful. Yet multiple games coming on Game Pass that are also selling on PC, on PlayStation, are successful multiple times now. And yet they keep taking this narrative of Game Pass is bad. It's destroying the gaming industry, where they're just saying that because they're afraid, because they have to make the plunge. They have to follow suit. Tencent, Ubisoft, EA, PlayStation, Nintendo, they all have to follow, because these guys are going to be the Netflix. These guys are going to be the Spotify. Now, I'm not saying in the future this could be the Spotify. What I'm saying is Microsoft is investing into this because they want to be where Spotify is. They want to be where Netflix is. They want to be the one company that is the standard in those fields. And that's what Game Pass is doing. That's what Microsoft's trying to do with Game Pass. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. If you like what I do here, check out some of our videos. Thanks for watching. Let me see what you guys are saying. World says indie games are so important to the industry. I need new Castle Crashers. Oh, that's a good game. That's a good game. Indie games are so important to the industry because indie games become AA games. AA games become AAA games. Right? Activision and Call of Duty had to have Pitfall and Frogger ahead of them so Activision could make better games over the years to become a AA, AAA studio. Right? Activision needed those games in the past to make the games they are in the future. But there is a point that the game companies that want to become the next big company also turn into what they hate, right? That's why they leave the studios and make their new studios, right? The guys that worked for EA, DICE, they left to start a new company. They made Embark. And now Embark is coming out, and now they're going up against DICE, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Ron Slusher says, since when has saving money become a bad thing? I don't know. I have no idea. World says it's also forced big studios to change the stupid things they're doing. Not so much. Big studios still do what they want because they still have the weight to throw around. Jack says there's a lot idea at Xbox games that's missed. Xbox, have you heard of Berserk? Boy, because of the certification system, which is why Xbox missed out on the game coming to their platform or just delayed. But that's going to be a problem with anything. Again, look at Steam. 19,000 games came out into Steam last year. Just Steam, not to other platforms. 19,000 games came to Steam. Do you think, I don't know, 90% of those games are known? No. Everybody wants to make a game because they want to be successful. Let me tell you something. Anybody that's making a video game right now is looking for a payoff. They're either looking to make a game because they were inspired by a game and they're like, we can make a shit ton of money from this. Look at the phone apps back in the day. When cell phones came out and people started making apps, everybody was trying to make an app. Everybody. Not because they wanted to make an app and it was good. No, they were trying to make money. They're trying to make money. Then they started making games, and everyone wanted to make a game. No one's inspired by Candy Crush, wants to make a game like Candy Crush because they're in it for the game. They're in it for the money. They're like, holy Christ, did you know that Candy Crush made this much money? We can make a game just like that. We can make a whole bunch of money. Two people quit their job, start coding, and then they make the next game that's big and popular. You think Cuphead developers that put their houses up didn't think they were going to make a shit ton of money? They were passionate about their game, sure. But if they didn't think they could make a shit ton of money, they wouldn't put the money that they had and lose everything up for the thing to take a risk. It's a lottery, man. Right? You want to make a game because you want to make a shit ton of money and also make a game. If I can make a good game and make a shit ton of money, boy, isn't that a good incentive? Most people want to make movies, not because they want to make a movie, because they know if they make a good movie, they can make a shit ton of money. Hence why they don't use their money to make the movie. They use someone else's money to make the movie. That way, if they lose, it's nothing off their back. Aku says 30. If you or anyone in chat has Warner Brothers Discovery stock, sell it. I just got that recommendation from Motley Fool. They're getting bought out by Skydance Media. Cuphead, if you like, it's a tough game. It looks appealing to the eye, Worlds. Cuphead's a great game. Great game. It's that old school, NES type of side scroller type thing. It's a fun game, but it's also brutal. It's brutal. It's really hard. Not like I'm talking about the later, like the boss fights and stuff like that, because unless they changed it, but the last boss fight, you have to go through like 7 stages. And if you fail on any of those stages, you got to go back to the first stage. And it's like repetition. You start to know where the things are shooting from, where to hit, what motion. It's good, though. It's a really fun game. World says, I love games that test you. I watch gameplay. Just never bothered playing it. Yeah, no, it's a good game. It's definitely it's almost like a memory game, right? Obviously, it's not in the exact same format like when they shoot, but you know, okay, like this phase, he does this, then he switches to this. This is where he attacks from. Like you start doing the repetition in your head and go, okay, and that's how you beat it. All right, let's go over to Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders just announced. Okay, Arc Raiders just announced a slam test, a server slam test. Okay, I want to show you this, right? I want to show you this. I'm going to bring up my Steam. I'm going to bring up my Steam here for a second. I've been interested in Arc Raiders since the very beginning. Okay, where do I go for my wish list? Where do I go for wish list? What's that under? Wish list. Okay. I want you to see Arc Raiders right here. Okay. Has been on my wish list, added on 5/23/2023. Okay. Right here. I can't make it bigger, but there it is. 5/23/2023. I've been interested in this game the entire time when they first showed it because I was like, oh, that looks like an interesting game. I lost interest in it when they switched it from a PvE game to a PvPvE game, okay? But I have to say, after Eclipse talking about it and other people talking about it, okay, like Winzo, right? I'm still interested because it still reminds me of Division and stuff like that. A lot of people say, oh, well, there's PvP in it, but you barely ever see people and so on and so forth. So I've always been following it, okay? I don't think I'm going to pick it up when it comes out, but I'm still keeping an eye on it because I am interested in it, okay? I'm not a big Extraction guy, but I did like Division Extraction, the DZ and stuff like that inside that game, okay? If you guys like what I do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We just talk about video games, stories, have conversations. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. All right, so Arc Raiders is opening its doors to everyone in the final Server Slam playtest coming in October. Okay, everyone who takes part will earn free backpack cosmetics for use of the full game. So let's look at, I don't want to play this. I saw it. It's got copyrighted music, so I'm not going to play it. Okay, so Arc Raiders, the game PC gamer shooter, Morgan Park called the most exciting extraction shooter of 2025. It's set to launch on October 30th. Oh, and another reason I liked Arc Raiders is because of the developers. Right? Brand new studio. They made the finals. They're making Arc Raiders Embark, which is ex-DICE guys. My favorite series ever is the Bad Company, right? Battlefield series. Bad Company 1, Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. Love those games. Okay, big Battlefield guy. Everyone that worked for Battlefield left majority and started their own studio, and this is what they made. Okay? It says it's coming out on October 30th. That's not much more than a month away, but it's also you have a chance to give it a go one more time before it happens to upcoming server slams and open to all play tests to set to run on October 17th to the 19th, which I think is pretty funny because this is shortly after, right? This is shortly after Battlefield 6 comes out, okay? Which is 7 days after Battlefield 6 comes out. Maybe they called them up and said, hey, is it okay if we do this? Says, I'm not sure when it started calling these things server slams rather than play tests, but the term is certainly, indicative of reflecting the goal, ensuring as much of such of a thing as possible that the servers or popular online game won't collapse under the weight of a launch day rush of players. Okay, to the end, Arc Raiders Slam is wide open available to all platforms, Steam and Epic for PC Plus, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S, with no pre-registration required, just to show and go, which is fantastic, by the way, right? That you don't have to pre-order something to do something, okay? Because that's what those other companies would do. Be like, well, if you want to get our game. No, they're like, look, we really believe in our game, and we want you to play our game, and make the choice if you want to pick it up or not. Okay. It says, quote, "This is where we all really put Arc Raiders through its paces ahead of a launch." Executive producer said, "Our goal is simple. Make sure that on October 30th, when the servers go live, every player experiences the game exactly as if it intended, polished, balanced, and ready for action." Or as I like to say, a complete game. Make a game, sell a game. Okay? So hopefully, anyway, although these things have a habit of going sideways when the big day comes, as PC Gamer's Fraser Brown pointed out when they declared 2024 the year of server issues, in February, no less popular hits like Helldivers 2, Last Epoch struggled badly at launch under the weight of unexpected interest. Okay? More recently, Funcom expressed confidence in Dune Awakening servers wouldn't implode at launch, and while it wasn't a complete catastrophic, yeah, there was problems. Arc Raiders may well face similar challenges because it's just that good. Jake Tucker says, who knows a thing or two about the shooters himself. Said last year he's also could be the extraction shooter that finally brings the genre to the masses. And for those of the masses all show up at once on launch day, it also might get a little crowded. A server stress test won't eliminate that possibility completely, but it also should be at least highlighted as obvious issues that also may have gone overlooked amidst all the pre-release excitement. Developer Embark Studios has said access to the server slam will roll out slowly on day one. How exactly that will work is unclear at this point, but the studio said that more information will provide closer to kickoff. I think they'll probably, instead of saying release at noon, okay, they'll do a slow rollout across the world, okay? I would assume, especially since it's PvPvE. So let's say it goes off in New Zealand first, obviously, or Australia or whatever. Okay, as it gets over there, only those people, even though I will travel to New Zealand to be a part of it. But those servers, okay, those servers will be hit with the amount of people, and then as the other people come on, they'll slowly open up other ones. Okay, a lot of companies don't want to pay for the server space beforehand. I think this is a good investment if they do, because if a game comes out and it runs smoothly, let me tell you, people will come. Okay, so we'll see what happens overall. Now it says pre-order Arc Raiders are available now on Steam and Epic Store for $40, $31, and $40 for the base game, or $60, $50, and $60 for the deluxe edition. The differences between which are listed below. Embark said the opting to avoid the free-to-play model so it can focus more on the fun, rather than encouraging players to make purchases. Okay? Which is respectable, right? Now, obviously, Concord came out and spent $40, and everyone was like, that's not really worth it because of that genre of game. Now, extractions are coming out. Now, I'll be honest with you. I didn't really follow Arc Raiders very much. You guys talked about it. I forget what we were playing at the time. I was just like, I'll play it down the road, right? This is before we knew it was free to play or $40 or whatever else. But now there's an open test on the 17th and the 19th. I'll probably play it that weekend, give it a shot, see what I think about it. But here's a person named Above. He's got a YouTube channel. Links in the description down below. We're going to watch this video. He starts to go over what Arc Raiders is. So any of you out there that don't know what Arc Raiders is, he's going to go over a whole list of what it is. Obviously, I watched the first couple minutes of it, and he's glazing it because he's a big fan of it. But I want to hear what it is, and he goes pretty in depth of what Arc Raiders is. So let's watch this. If you guys like it, you want to watch his video uninterrupted, go check out the link below for Above. If not, you can sit here as we'll pause and talk about it as we go.
Have you ever had an instant connection to a game because something about it was just different than all the rest? Almost special in a way that's indescribable. A package of so many unique elements that are done so well that it's actually hard to encapsulate.
There's a lot of games like that, right? Right? Let me rewind it for just a second. Right? He says, is there a game that just so infatuated that you keep going, right?
Have you ever had an instant connection to a game because something about it was just different than all the rest? Almost special in a way that's indescribable. A package of so many unique elements that are done so well that it's actually hard to encapsulate what you love about it so much. That secret sauce that is so difficult for game developers to get right. We've all had that feeling at one point or another, but where I didn't expect to find this was during a tech test for a game that hadn't even announced its release.
I heard a lot of people talk about like this, right? A lot of you guys came in during the early access trial And a lot of you guys were saying, man, I can't stop playing this game. This game is so good. Winzo, I don't know if he's still here. He came in and said, I don't even like extraction shooters, and this game I can't wait for. This will be my first extraction, and I absolutely loved it. Can't wait for it, right? And I heard a lot of people talk about this game like this, and I was just like, right? And I'm blowing it off because it's more PvP than PvE was, right? I thought it was really cool because it looked like it was going to be like a Destiny when they first showed it, okay? Open world type of thing where you're running around with other people and you're doing a Destiny type of stuff, but then they changed it to an extraction. I was like, But I'm open, right? I said if I was going to play one, I'd play this over Marathon, of course, because I'm not supporting Bungie in any way, shape, or form.
State yet. Back in April, Arc Raiders held a 5-day public tech test to gather vital community feedback on key game systems such as progression, combat, performance, and more. But it felt...
Wasn't the public test only on PC, or was this on console? I'm trying to remember why I didn't try it out.
Nothing like any alpha or even beta I had ever played before. I sunk nearly 40 hours into the game over a 5-day span, and I knew almost instantly that something about this game was just different. And when the tech test was over, I went into a massive gaming rut because...
That's about 8 days, or 8 hours, sorry, 8 hours a day.
Because all I wanted to do was...
Which is not really a big deal for a streamer.
Play more Arc Raiders. In fact, it left...
I do think visually this game is much more appealing than what Marathon showed, right?
Such a lasting impression on me that I'm venturing out of my usual Destiny route.
It was only PC, right? Yeah, that's what I thought, Salty. I'm pretty sure it was, because I was like, I remember that I remember my system wouldn't run it, or I was like, I'm not going to play it. Oh, I know why. I didn't play it because I couldn't play it and show it on stream. Is because I couldn't play it on PC and stream at the same time. It wasn't a thing that it was, I couldn't play it because they told me I couldn't play it. No, I couldn't stream it because my PC is not powerful enough to do it.
To cover this game as a mainstay on the channel. Arc Raiders has that secret.
I mean, we said the same thing about Diablo 4's beta too. Remember 30? About what? As far as what are you talking about, Water? I'm sorry. We said the same thing about what?
Sauce, and today I'll be showcasing why it's easily my most anticipated game for the remainder of 2025. So what is Arc Raiders? The game was originally announced all the way back in 2021 as a third-person...
Right. And when we first saw it, I was like, I'm interested in this. Right, 4 years ago, I was like, I'm interested in this. This looks good.
PvE looter shooter, somewhat similar to what you'd...
How good they were and how they couldn't stop playing it. True, but I know my facts. When Diablo 4, I only played for the single player aspect of it, and I was like, I'm good. Right?
Expect from The Division. However, Embark Studios, who many know for their development of the finals, delayed and iterated the game into the extraction shooter we know today. And you can tell how much time, effort, and care they've put into their game because they've been cooking. Arc Raiders took over Twitch seemingly out of nowhere by pure word of mouth during the second tech test back in April, and despite it being part of that hardcore extraction shooter genre that certainly isn't for everyone...
Oh, I forgot about the stupid review. They gave this a bad review, and they glazed fucking Marathon. I forgot about that bad.
Previously made popular by military simulators like Escape from Tarkov, viewers seem to find Arc Raiders much more approachable and watchable than other extraction shooters before it. The genre is known for its hardcore nature and intense gaming experiences that can give you the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. The thought of losing hard-earned loot can...
I like the setting. I like the story of Arc Raiders, where like an alien race came down to Earth, and like your Arc Raiders, basically you live underground now, and you have to go to the surface to get supplies. And the reason there's PvP is because you're going up against other factions in the world to get the same supply type of stuff.
understandably be a major deterrent for a lot of people, but Arc Raiders
Here, I'm gonna rewind here for a
the
second.
highest of highs and the lowest of lows. The thought of losing hard-earned loot can understandably be a major deterrent for a lot of people, but Arc Raiders disrupts this formula in a very good way. They've incorporated so many quality of life features into the core foundation of their game that helps make that vicious extraction shooter cycle much more enjoyable, without it feeling overly casualized either. I find that tension and high-intensity moments are a necessary fiber of this genre's DNA, and if you fail to deliver...
Here's the thing, and again, I know nothing about this game, so I'm watching this along with you guys. I always want my time respected. This is why I don't like extractions, right? Like, if I go in for 40 minutes, right? Like Helldivers, right? If I fail to extract, I don't get the resources, but I still get the medals. I still get the war bonds, right? Or the requisitions. I still get the super credits, right? I still get the XP, right? I feel like even if I die or fail, I'm progressing towards something, right? And that's respecting the player's time. In an extraction shooter, if I go in to get stuff and I don't extract anything, in most extractions, you don't get anything, right? Now, they've changed the method a little bit for certain extractions that come out. So does Arc Raiders respect the player's time where your XP obviously goes forward? Do you get something else? Is the resources I find on it, or do I have to extract? You know what I mean? Or what is the give-take relationship in Arc Raiders that's different from other extractions?
On that adrenaline rush, people tend to lose interest pretty quickly.
Okay, he just said something there.
That tension and high-intensity moments are a necessary fiber of this genre's DNA, and if you fail to deliver on that adrenaline rush, people tend to lose interest pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Embark has somehow delivered a harsh yet approachable world that constantly keeps you coming back for more.
Okay.
This balance
In what ways, though?
can be attributed to a couple different things. The first is a simplification of the survival aspect that typically intimidates players from trying extraction shooters in the first place. You aren't surgically repairing limbs, worrying about dehydration, or managing hunger levels. Your only concern is making sure your health bar never hits zero.
Okay, so that's they've made a simplistic way of that, which is good.
The second selling point is the wide range of progression systems, from an in-depth skill tree that can truly diversify your playstyle as you level up, to mastery objectives that passively earn you XP.
Okay, so mastery experience, damage raiders, damage non-squad mate raiders, and return safely. Okay, so every time I go in or do something, I'm leveling up these things that are gathering up over time. Okay, I like that.
And unlock badass crafting recipes, to quest lines that unlock vendor upgrades, to even a
Okay, so vendor. Okay, I'm gonna rewind it here a little bit because he's saying what I want to hear.
Playstyle as you level up, to mastery objectives that passively earn you XP and unlock badass crafting recipes, to quest lines that unlock vendor.
Okay, so if I fail, but I'm still going up my mastery stuff, I can craft stuff down the road, so my time is not being wasted towards stuff.
Earn you XP and unlock badass crafting recipes, to quest lines that unlock vendor upgrades, to even a consumer-friendly battle pass similar to the Helldivers model that...
Okay. So there's a battle pass sort of like Helldivers. I like the Helldivers, so I can earn the currency inside the game.
Upgrades, to even a consumer-friendly battle pass similar to the Helldivers model that unlocks cosmetics and rewards you for just playing the game.
Now, I know I said you can earn the stuff in the game. I'm going to ask, can you find super credits inside the, whatever the credits are called? Can you find super credits inside the game as you're going around? I'm asking you, chat, those of you that played.
Helldivers model that unlocks cosmetics and rewards you for just playing the game. So even if a couple raids don't go your way, you're always making progress.
That sounds appealing. I don't know about that, but they have that in the beta. I don't know about that. They didn't have that in the beta. Okay, I don't think so. Okay. The playtest was fun. The art style wasn't for everyone, though.
They even give you an early game resource companion named Scrappy, a rooster that constantly loots basic necessities from the surface for you, giving you a steady flow.
There is no super credits in the game, so there's no way to get the currency in the game. So if I buy a war bond, if I buy their battle pass in the game for $10, it never expires, and I can always work towards it, right? So I buy the $10. You buy the $10 or whatever it is, and you work towards it. It never expires.
Of things like weapon parts, medical supplies, and other craftables that help you get right back into the action. Now, progression systems are great, but if you don't find the world interesting, none of it really matters. And it may
All right, hold on. Let me rewind what he's saying there.
Surface for you, giving you a steady flow of things like weapon parts, medical supplies, and other craftables that help you get right back into the action. Now, progression systems are great, but if you don't find the world interesting, none of it really matters. And it may sound like
That's very true. If you don't find the world itself interesting, then you probably won't like it, right? So again, the pros and cons. So far, I'm hearing a lot of pros. The con for me is PvP. You won't hear me complain that there's PvP in the game. It's just I don't prefer PvP. I'm okay playing PvP games. I like playing PvP games, okay? But a game like this, where it was supposed to be a PvE game, I'm disappointed that it's a PvPvE game. But again, a lot of people said that they played the game and they barely ever came across somebody in the actual game, right? And I think the pros versus cons of this is if I'm going in solo and I come across another group of people, that could be a little frustrating. But if I go in with a group of friends and we're playing together and we come across someone, that's a completely different experience.
like I'm glazing the studio at this point, but I was genuinely immersed in the universe right away. You quickly learn that Earth has been overrun by a sort of alien mechanized threat known as
I like the concept of the story behind this.
the Ark, a group of mysterious interconnected robots that hunt down humans and essentially make the Earth's surface uninhabitable. And with this imposing threat, we're driven underground where we've created a safe haven known as Speranza as a last-ditch effort to save the human race. And the Ark Raiders are a specialized group of humans that go to the surface to scavenge for goods that keep our colony up and running. This means you're constantly evading the Ark patrolling the surface, also known as topside, while
Eclipse says, I'm just gonna let you know, I played this mostly solo, and so many times by just waiting for people to extract, going in and extracting with them. So it's a bunch of peaceful people that you found. That's good.
simultaneously battling other human colonies that are competing for those same scarce resources for survival. It's a gritty and believable story that grabs your attention with
So are they not aliens? They're AI.
means you're constantly evading the Ark patrolling the surface,
Okay.
also known as topside, while simultaneously battling other
So we made robots. The robots took over the world, and now humans are living underneath the ground. Got it.
human colonies that are competing for those same scarce resources for survival. It's a gritty and believable story that grabs your attention within just minutes of turning on the game. And the world feels alive. Tension is a crucial part of extraction shooters that so many developers get wrong, but the Ark are genuinely terrifying. What may seem like a harmless patrol drone is actually a built-in alarm system that interconnects our foes, quickly calling in larger groups of robots for reinforcements that will swarm you in a matter of minutes. From bastions to hornets, bisons, and even world bosses, these enemies are brutal and completely change the way you approach the game. Pick a fight at the wrong time, and the Ark will swarm you. Get greedy with loot.
See, this right here, the PvE aspect of it, really feels like a Helldivers type of stuff, right?
And that little patrol drone you ignored has suddenly called in reinforcements. There is a fine balance between finding the right times to PvP, loot high-tier areas, or take a more covert approach to just get your quests done. There are several cues that you can use to identify enemy player positions, such as car alarms, metal detectors, swarms of birds, alerted Ark forces, and even enemy flares in the sky that indicate when a player's been downed. And as you become more experienced at reading this information...
Wait a minute. Those things that he just showed are people are people putting it? So like another group is putting a car alarm and stuff down?
Loot high-tier areas or take a more covert approach to just get your quest done. There are several cues that you can use to identify enemy player positions, such as car alarms.
So like another group put that car alarm in there. So now I know, okay, someone's in this area type of thing.
Metal detectors.
Why would you do that though? I guess you would go that because you want to go in there and make sure no one's coming up behind you. Right? Or you could just sneak around and not do any of that.
Swarms of birds, alerted arc forces, and even enemy flares in the sky that indicate when a player's been downed. And as you become more experienced at reading this information, the easier the game becomes, giving a sense of skill expression for how you maneuver about the map. And the maps themselves are beautiful. They take full advantage.
Well, of course, Water, that's going to happen in any of these games. That's usually what happens. Right? Water says, you know what'll suck if someone's watching you fight a group of robots only to wait until you're finished low on health and then shoot you and take your loot. Yeah, that's usually what people do. Again, this goes back to my conversation. Most people don't want to do PvP, right? They'll take advantage of something. They would rather do PvE, but if they're going to do PvP, they would rather shoot you in the back and not actually fight you and then just take your shit.
Advantage of Unreal Engine 5, giving us massive explorable landscapes with dynamic weather and post-apocalyptic vibes that actually feel believable. It's not overly decayed or grayscaled like in other games. It's
okay. Clip says, see how the extraction points work. There's a little hub. So if you're in it, that hub, when you extract, it doesn't matter who activates it. If you sneak in, there's also with no one seeing you, you're good. Got it. So a little pod, like a little zone, and as long as you're in that zone, you can escape. Got it.
It's weathered, overgrown, and eerie in the best of ways. The maps are large enough to give a healthy balance between PvE and...
Did you say they are large enough or not large enough?
Decayed or grayscaled like in other games. It's weathered, overgrown, and eerie in the best of ways. The maps are large enough to give a healthy balance between PvE and PvP, and are dense enough to make the world feel truly immersive. In fact, almost...
I do like the exploration part of extractions, right? That's appealing to me. Like finding the stuff and going, oh, and if it's different every time, you know what I mean? Like, I hope that if I go to this map, it's not the same loot in the exact same spots all the time. I hope it's randomly generated around the thing. So people are like, oh yeah, if you go in this building over here, you'll find this thing. Like, I hope it's different every single time.
Every building you see on the horizon is explorable space. It's not just a bunch of empty POIs with filler in between. It really does leave a ton of room for exploration.
Okay.
There were 3 maps included in the tech test back in April, with both day and night variations of the Dam Battlegrounds.
Okay, variations of that. That's good.
Buried City, and a Sarah spaceport available to play. A 4th map known as the Blue Gate has been teased repeatedly by the developer, so I think it's safe to assume that we'll have at least 4 maps at launch on October 30th. It's also worth noting that these maps have dynamic extract timers that change every single...
So the timers change, but do the stuff in the map change as far as where you find the loot?
Raid. This helps randomize the flow of the maps a bit and prevents extract campers from sitting in one place for an entire game.
That's another question I was just going to have. Does the extraction point change on the map, or is it always the same spot?
It's honestly one of the better mechanics I've seen in an extraction shooter to date, and one of the coolest details about Arc Raiders is the fact that you get a post-action report that literally showcases everywhere you've traveled on the map, which enemies you encountered, the type of loot you picked up, and so much more.
As you say that, Salty, obviously he's saying this, and I was just going to say, so Salty's saying, no, the loot always stays in the same place. And what he's saying here is basically it's showing your track, and if you found these things, the next time you can study it, like otherwise you wouldn't be able to study this, right? It knows your track, and you're like, oh, I found good things here, this is what I found. So now you're actually learning the landscape. So if I play this map again and again and again, so what's going to happen is, over time, this is not even including YouTube, but people tell you the best path to take. This is just doing it yourself. If I play this map multiple times, let's say 10 times, By the 10th time, everyone's going to know where the best loot possibly can happen. So the longer you play, the more encounters you will get, because more people will take the same path as you because they're going to figure out this is the best place to get this loot. Right?
It's a small thing, but it's one of many that really adds up to make for a unique gaming experience. And then we have the world bosses. This is such a cool wrinkle in the extraction shooter genre because these aren't your typical map bosses you'd see in games like Escape from Tarkov. These are massive raid boss level enemies that typically require...
Now, can you, with these bosses, with these world bosses, first of all, a couple questions here that I'm asking my chat. How many real players are on the map at one time? Is it 3 groups of 4? Is it 12? Is it 16? Like, how many people can be on a map at one time? That's my first question. My second question is, can you get credit for shooting? So let's say my group and your group are on the map at the exact same time. We see this world boss happen. We all start fighting the boss. Not fighting each other, fighting the boss. Who gets credit for it? The person that has the most damage? The person that has the last shot? Does everybody that's fighting it get credit for beating the actual boss itself? How does that work? Salty says, then when you fight the world boss, you always get third-partied. Okay. So you're saying when you fight the boss, you're always getting shot from behind because people are cowards. Got it? If they copy the mission generation like Helldivers 2, I hope they do. That'd be nice if it's different every time.
Coordination across several teams to take down. And as you can...
So it is several teams. Okay, so hold on.
...in games like Escape from Tarkov. These are massive raid boss level enemies that typically require coordination across several teams to take down. And as you can imagine, this presents a unique dynamic that forces enemy teams to either work together or betray each other in hopes of taking all of that loot for themselves.
So there you go. So not only are you doing a world boss, but you want the people to fight along with you. But as you're fighting the guy, you want to take out people, and you're fighting each other because only one team gets the loot. Okay.
Which only amplifies that tension the world has to offer.
Well, here's my next question now. So if there's 16 groups on the actual map, do they all start at the same time? Do you drop in at different times? So let's say someone was on the map for 10 minutes already, then you come in with your group. Okay, or does everyone start at the exact same time, and that's the timer, right? So once a match starts, the match has started. Everyone's on the same playing field. Once you're eliminated, you're eliminated. So if there's 16 people that start, by the end there could only be 4, and that's the 4 people. So it's not like if I kill a team off, some other team's going to come in and then replace that team.
Queen is incredibly strong.
Drop in late, some drop early. Total. The actual answer is starting at 18 people dropping in. Drop in late, some drop in early. So are you always in there for the amount of time, though? 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes? You'll know by the timers on extractions. Okay.
And has multiple attacks that can easily wipe entire squads in a matter of seconds. The fact that there was a world boss in the tech test is insane in its own right, and I get hyped thinking about what types of enemies and mechanics they've been holding close to their chest because they don't want to spoil them for the full launch of the game. There are so many ways Embark can go with this, and that alone gets me so excited for launch. Similar to the way people feel about extraction shooters, third-person game
matches end, or is the map always open? For what he said earlier in the video, he said, okay, hold on. I'm going to, where are we at right now? We're at 8:46. He said right here.
It's also worth noting that these maps have dynamic extract timers that change every single raid.
Dynamic extraction timers. I don't know what that means. Right? So every single raid that you go in, it's different. So you might be in there with 10 minutes. You might be in there with 15 minutes. Right? Salty says you'll be in for 10 to 15 minutes max per match. If the timer's ended, it'll have a nuke explosion, only black screen. Okay. Eclipse says, well, the whole point of the game is to get your mission, and those missions you need to extract with certain things. So that you're also trying to do. Sometimes you'll join a match with 10 minutes in. Okay, so basically you're going around doing like Helldiver type stuff, right? You have your missions before you can go to the extraction. So you have to complete your missions before you can extract, or can you extract at any time during this? Like I drop in, find something, and then I want to go to extract.
Action shooters, third-person gameplay. There's so many ways Embark can go with this, and that alone gets me so excited for launch. Similar to the way people feel about extraction shooters.
Extraction timers just means certain extraction points are only open at certain times. Every map is like 30 minutes, but that doesn't mean you're going in to join in at 30 minutes. Okay.
Third-person gameplay can also be a major turnoff for a lot of players. I'm an FPS enjoyer at heart, but the gameplay was honestly so good that I didn't really think about it while playing. As hard as it can be to try and set aside those preconceived notions, I genuinely encourage you to give this game a chance. It feels polished, the gunplay reminds me a lot of the peak OG Dark Zone days in The Division, and the movement is just a cherry on top. Between mantling, sliding, rolling, grappling, and even zip lines, there is so much skill expression here, and it just makes the game fun to play. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and that's what I think makes it so special. Before I go, I'm gonna rapid fire some of the intricate details that really stood out to me, starting with the game's sound design. If I had to give a direct comparison, I'd easily put it in the same tier as Battlefield 6, and that—
Oh, the sound design. The sound design is Battlefield 6. Okay. Well, I guess that's good, because the people that did the other Battlefield games, the amount of sound design, I remember back in the day when they were doing Battlefield Bad Company 2, and there was a behind-the-scene video of them getting the sound design done for the guns, and what they did for that game was absolutely insane at that time. And then those people now are making, this game. So
that may sound crazy, but Embark genuinely cooked here. From enemy sound cues, to environmental ambiance, to even the subtle crack of an enemy shield, they absolutely nailed it. They even dropped a Soundscapes audio compilation on their YouTube channel last week that's already approaching 100,000 views, and these are some of my favorite audio bits from that video as a sneak peek of what I'm talking about.
that sound design sounds pretty good.
It's just so good, man. Did you know that almost all of the Ark enemies have some sort of unique...
I think that's everyone's big thing. And this is why I don't know if the game's going to be super popular or if it's just going to be popular. And what I mean by that is it can be popular within the realm, and it's going to sound like it's a much bigger game than it actually is because the people that like those games. But not a lot of people are playing extraction shooters, okay? Like, overall, it's not like this huge... There's lots of extraction shooters. Can this break in the market and make it, easier for people to get into the extraction shooter? Is this going to change the landscape of extraction shooters? Is there going to be a lot more people that play this than that play Tarkov, right? I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Strength and weakness, and that some of these enemies even have special loot interactions, whether it be weak points that affect an enemy's flight control, a weapon archetype that excels against some of the tankier mini-bosses, or a little Roomba that may look harmless but will actually light you on fire if you get too close. But when you kill it, it'll give you materials that can either be used for crafting or used in raid as a throwable weapon. And did you know that if you lose a fight with one of these enemies and get down near an extract, you can actually crawl into the elevator and use this unique interaction to successfully extract while...
That's cool. So even when you're down, you can extract.
While downed, it's a minor detail, but one of many that add up to make this game incredibly special.
So wait a minute. He was just... returning automatically in a minute 51. There's 18 minutes left in the game. Automatically 151, but he went up to the actual thing.
But
and
one
soon
of
as he
many
did
that
it,
add up to make this game incredibly special.
It went down to 5 seconds.
And like any game,
so you can
I'm sure
sneak in. So extraction, you're not waiting for like a 2-minute timer or anything like that. You can literally run up to inside the thing and just click extract.
players will quickly identify flaws, as is normal with any new title on release, but Embark has already shown their willingness to make significant changes leading up to launch, and I have no doubt they'll continue to do that moving forward. They've already made balance adjustments to hatches, are updating maps based on player hotspots, and enhancing basic areas to make them higher tier loot zones, and are continuing to perfect the balance of the game leading up to launch. What remains to be seen is if Embark can nail that long-term hook that has made games like Escape from Tarkov so popular for the better part of 10 years now. If they can stick the landing on the endgame, I truly believe Arc Raiders will join some of the giants in the gaming world as we know it.
Okay.
Well, Raiders, that's going to do it for the video. If you enjoyed, a thumbs up would be greatly appreciated as it helps others find our content, and be sure to subscribe for a ton of art.
So that's good information. Go check out above. Hit that subscribe button for him if you want to. I'm sure he's going to do some more content for Arc Raiders. He said in the beginning as a Destiny content creator, and now he's using this as his mainstay, basically. Let me see what you guys are saying here. There's still only 2 or 3 on console. Might be the biggest there. Well, there's Vigor. Tarkov's not there yet, right? Yeah, I guess you're right. There is like 3 or 4, right? Marathon will be there. This will be there. There's a couple other ones. So you're right. It might be the biggest for console. Altern says he has it has a $40, so it's just by that it has an entry point a little high. If you're not into extractions, I don't think this is be the one to try first, because you might not like it and be out $40. This is why I was actually just going to say this, Altern, because they're doing the open test the 17th through the 19th or whatever it is. You got 17, 18, 19. You got 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I believe that's what it is, to test it out. I'll give it a shot that weekend to see if I like it or not. But you are right. Because it's $40, I don't really play extractions. And because there's no main story, there's not like other game modes, it's just this, it's a little pricey, right? Now, obviously, Marathon, people were talking about Marathon coming out as $40, and they were saying that that game needed to be free to play. But yet they're okay paying the $40 for this one. I think, obviously, Marathon comes out as $40. It's not going to do very well. I think this will do better than Marathon, 100%. I think people are just done with Bungie. I think people are just burnt by Bungie, as we see, fire on the actual screen over here being burnt. Okay, so I think these guys have something special, and what I'm talking about special is the people that are making this game make good quality games, not the company, the developers working on the game. Most of the developers at Embark were ex-DICE developers. They worked on the past Battlefield entries that people loved. Okay? They made the finals. They've made a very good destructible environment in that game. Okay? I'd be interested if destructibility is in this game. Now, no one said anything about it, but it'd be pretty interesting if a building can blow up, because these are the people that have the same as the finals and same people that made destructible environment inside of a Battlefield. So I don't know if there's a destructible environment in this. That'd be interesting. But on top of that, the developers that make this game, that make the finals, that made Battlefield, have a good standing of they make proper games. They make really good games. So that's intriguing for me. Like I showed in the very beginning, I've been interested in this game since they first showed it in 2021. I've been wishlist this game since 2023. Okay. Then last year they said they're going from PvE to PvPvE. So I'm interested in it, but I'm not sold on it myself. Right? Again, not big on just extractions. Maybe this one hits me when I play on the 17th or the 19th. But overall, I think it looks much more appealing than other extractions that I've seen. And so hearing him say it and hearing all of you guys talk about it, saying that it's a much better experience. People are like thinking about it like it's really good. I see good parts about it. My concerns is that if it's, again, I'll see on the 17th or the 19th. I got to play for myself. My concerns is that it'll be more PvP than PvE, PvPvE, right? So I'm not a big, when I play games like this, again, I want my time being respected. It seems like they're respecting the time based on the XP, the missions that you do. Even if you fail, you still feel like you're getting something out of it. Sort of like Helldivers. Helldivers, if I fail, I'm still getting stuff out of it. I'm still getting XP. I'm still getting the other things that, and I feel like I'm still progressing towards a bigger picture, right? Now I want to talk about, they're doing this launch on the 17th to the 19th, which I think is very interesting because Battlefield 6 comes out. These are ex-DICE developers. Their game comes out October 30th. They're coming out 2 weeks after. I think that if this game takes off on October 17th through the 19th, now remember, there's a rumor of Battle Royale coming out on the 28th, which is a free-to-play. Now, this is a $40 price tag to get into the extraction. You could see that if this game takes off, right, Battlefield 6 comes out, diehards are going to buy the game regardless, doesn't matter. Okay, but everyone else is going to kind of like sit back, right? Like sit back and kind of wait to see what Battlefield 6 is going to do, right? Myself included. Okay, a lot of old-time Battlefield fans are kind of just sitting back, seeing what happens with it. I think that more people that were Battlefield fans in the past might sit back and wait and see what this one does, even for $40. Okay, because we got to remember, Battlefield 6 is still a $70 game. And we don't know if it's still going to be the Battlefield game that we wanted. This could be interesting as a squad of 4 people going in and taking out certain people. I think people would rather play this than the Battle Royale of Battlefield because, again, the Battle Royale of Battlefield is just not Battlefield. If I'm going to play a 4-man squad game, even though it's free to play there, I might play this instead with a group of people. On top of that, they're coming out 2 weeks after that game comes out and 2 weeks before their game comes out, which is 2 weeks supposedly before the Battle Royale comes out. They might be able to steal some of the thunder from Battlefield 6. I wonder if this game, because of its entry point, again, we'll have to wait and see after the 17th or the 19th when people do the stress test and whatnot, and what the buzz of this game is. But on October 30th comes out, this game can pull some stuff, okay, from Battlefield and also from Call of Duty. We'll see. It's going to be rough for them because they're also coming out 2 weeks before Call of Duty comes out. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens here. Bat says extraction shooter of Division 2 and Destiny 2 have always walking lobby area. But the Ark don't have that, and they cannot interact with other players or strangers. That was most of it. Okay. Eclipse says, like I said, I don't know how many times I waited in the bush and saw someone activating the console and then went in. And they saw you? So, okay, explain this to me a little bit, Eclipse. So I walk in, right? I activate the thing. It says 2 minutes. So you have 2 minutes to extract in that time once you activate it. Okay, once you activate it, you have 2 minutes to extract, but you can extract any time within that 2 minutes. You don't have to wait for the countdown to go all the way down, correct? Once it extracts, then that closes down. That extraction point is closed. Yep, done it myself. It only does that because he is downed. 150 was because the extract was closing on the map after that timer. Okay. Z says, the streamers I watched playing it, the sound design was crazy. You can't even open a crate without signaling some sound with the building. It's really cool. So sort of like State of Decay. You're making sound when you're opening up crates and stuff like that. Travis says, 30, what's annoying is every time I make these games, you can now see how it also would have been better as PvE. I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't agree with them switching it from PvE to PvE, but again, I'll give it a shot for the test. I'm not going to spend $40 to give it a shot. Marathon apparently has a great endgame loop. Shame we won't get to see it. Clip says, I'm just saying that Helldivers is $40, and the netcode is not worth $40. I love the game, but damn, yesterday was horrible. Oh, that afternoon. We'll see what happens this afternoon when we play. Arc Raiders is static, no destruction. Oh, that's a shame. No destruction is funny considering that the other game the developer was full of it. Yeah, it's weird that they haven't done that. I get it. Maybe they don't want all their games to be like fully destructible environment type of stuff and be known for that. I don't know. I believe it'll come out and go within a month after the big streamers have had their time with it. So Arc Raiders usually don't come out and have their time with it and then be done. I feel like Battlefield 6 is going to do that way. I think more people play the Battle Royale than the actual Battlefield 6. World says, looks like we will see some more craziness between Power World devs and Nintendo. They just announced a new Power World game based around farming and creating a town. Looks like an Animal Crossing type of game. I watched it. I wouldn't say it's more Animal Crossing. I feel like it's more just Disney Dreamlight Valley type of stuff, which I guess is sort of like a Animal Crossing. But I thought it was funny that at the very end of that trailer, I watched it, they throw a ball at somebody, so they're making fun of it, of the thing. So I think that was pretty funny. Feels Good says, nothing beats taking another player's hard-earned loot in an extraction shooter. I get a huge rush from it. Bat says, even if I stop playing Helldivers because of Major Order, I cannot stop playing it weekly. Wait, even I stopped playing Helldivers because of Major Orders. I can't stop playing it weekly. Let's see here. Ron says, hear me out. Nicki Minaj, Arc Raiders. But yeah, the extract is like 10 seconds. And when it comes back till the timer ends, till it'll shut it down completely and unusable. So are there multiple locations on the map of extraction? So if someone activates this one's done and you have to go back to this other one? Is that how it works, Salty? Like in Division, there was like 2 or 3 locations for extractions. Is that the same thing in this? And then my question is from that, if there is multiple locations, what happens if you don't extract if both of them have been used? Like, you get 2 shots. If this one closes, you get 1 shot. And if this one closes, you're screwed. World says the text in the text bubble specifically looks like Animal Crossing. Nintendo is going to be patenting the thing in text of bubbles now? Probably. Wouldn't surprise me. No, it's not done till the timers are done, but they shut down over time. All right, so there's like a cooldown period. So if I come into the game, it's a 15-minute timer. I pick up 1 item. I go to the extraction. I can use that extraction. I get out. Now that timer, once that closes up, it's on a cooldown before it opens up again, before someone else can use it. I'm not sold. I'm not sold on Arc Raiders. I'm definitely going to try it out on the 17th to the 19th. I think it does look good. It looks intriguing to me. Again, I was big on the extraction, not the extraction, but the PvE aspect of it, because I thought it was going to be like a Destiny-esque type of game. And now they've switched it up to an extraction. We'll see. Yes, it's on a timer? Okay. All right, let me see what's going on Twitter. Power World is getting its own crazy game spinoff. Yep. Xbox users reportedly play more games than PlayStation 5 on Steam players. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see what this is saying. Well, maybe we'll read this tomorrow. I'll read the headline right now. Let's see. Let me add this to... Yeah, so here's the headline. We'll probably read this tomorrow. Xbox users reportedly play more games than PlayStation 5 or Steam players, and there's one big reason why. There's a tease for you for tomorrow. I'm not going to read that until tomorrow. Okay. Fortnite fans say that Epic is throwing stuff at the wall with baffling updates as Battle Royale concurrence dip. And there's some truth to it. Okay, we can add that to the list tomorrow. Proximity chat's getting people banned. That's already in the thing. Okay. Well, that's nice. So, I don't know what the truth of this is. It says, just in, YouTube admits that Biden administration pressured them to censor Americans, offered terminated channels and opportunities to rejoin their platform. Oh, that's nice. So they silence people. It's good. Here's a article from Kotaku. Costco seems to no longer be selling Xbox games or consoles. Huh. Isn't that interesting? Who talks about that? I don't know, some crazy guy on the internet where I said that they move stuff off the floor and then say, oh yeah, no, we sold out of it. We sold out of that. Even though they had thousands of them. On Monday, remove them out of sight, out of mind, put them back out like they're brand new consoles that just came in just so they can raise the prices because they think you're retarded. Let me see what else here. Anything else? I got some good stories for tomorrow. Got some good stories for tomorrow. All right. It's 12 o'clock. I appreciate everyone coming out, hanging out with us for our stories for the Daily Grind. We do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We'll be back in about 45 minutes or so over on 30 and Still Gaming, where we play some more Helldivers, unless it shits the bed like it did yesterday. And then we'll be back tonight to play some more video games over on 30 and Still Gaming. Again, appreciate it. Make sure you check out all the links down below. Make sure you check out the stories. Make sure you check out the links for the videos that we watch. Go check out the links for the actual music that we create here. Help us out. Hit that like button, share, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.